Okay, so Onision, our wonderful idiotic friend, made a video called Cutters, where, to summarize, he basically says if you cut, or have any problem for that matter, fuck your problem, suck it up pansy kind of thing, because there's people starving in Africa. And a lot of people are mad at Onision for saying this because, you know, like, cutting is a big problem. And, you know, he's basically saying any problem smaller than starving in Africa or whatever is not something to complain about. Well, people all over the world have different problems, and mental illnesses are no exception. You know, cutting, suicide, whatever it might be. And that's what people are mad at him for basically, you know, saying everyone else's issues mean nothing because there's people starving. However, I want to let you guys know that I'm not on Onision's side at all. I think his comment was incredibly ignorant, and I think it makes cutters feel much, much worse about themselves, and he doesn't help anybody. But one thing that I want to mention is that you guys should reflect on yourselves, because you're hypocrites. And here's how you're hypocrites. A very traditional line that people say to someone who's in pain, whether if it's any problem for that matter. We're not just talking about, you know, suicide or cutting. We're talking about, like, any issue, whether if it's anything from a mental illness, a suicide attempt, abuse, being cheated on, lied to, stolen from, etc. Any issue, or just depressed about something. A very common thing that most people in the world say, not including myself, because I find this to be a very inconsiderate, selfish, and rude way to help people. I put that in quotes because it doesn't actually help anybody when people are told this. The line is, "Oh, what is someone who has it worse off than you?" There's very few people in the world who do not say that. It's one of the most common lines that people say when they don't know how to give proper advice. I'm pretty sure many people who are watching this video have probably said that to somebody. I never say that to anybody because I find it to be one of the rudest and most inconsiderate, selfish and self-centered things you can say to somebody, and it gives no help whatsoever. But here's my question to the people who are hating on Onision. Aside from the fact that Onision's being direct with his example, aka using starving children in Africa, what's the difference between what he said and what everybody else says? By him saying, well, there's people starving in Africa, so fuck your problems, is basically a more direct way of saying, people have it worse off than you, so stop complaining. And the people who are hating on Onision are the same people who say that line, because, like I said, most people say it, not including myself. So my question is, how are you any better than Onision? The only difference in the traditional line of, well, there's people who have it worse off than you, and him saying, well, there's people in Africa who are starving, there's only two differences in that. Number one is that he's using a direct example, which is starving children in Africa, and that he's talking about cutting. That's it. He's literally using the same exact example / excuse that everybody else uses to everybody else when it comes to giving advice or help when it comes to a personal issue. I would never use a word like that. I made a video on suicide a while back where I give real advice. As someone like myself who gives advice and counsels people all the time, I can tell you that this advice is terrible, but I just want the people who are watching this video and are mad at Greg to reflect on yourselves, because what he said is no different than what everybody else says, apart from the fact of him using a direct example. So, I ask you, how is him saying that people in Africa are starving, so fuck your problems, how is that any different from everybody else in the world saying, yeah, people have it worse off than you, so fuck your problems? How are you any better?